Welcome to Market Matters. I'm Nadia Hassan together with Sulhi Azman. The two of us are going to sit here and try to break down what actually is happening this week. It's a brand new week, right, Sulhi? And a brand new week means brand new times. It's an interesting day for investors, mostly because China had a massive data dump today.
Yeah, well, according to the data released today, the China's GDP has fallen below 7% for the first time since the global financial crisis in 2009.
You look so really worried because it's when you say fall below 7%, it's like 6.9.
6.9%.
Come on, be nice.
Come on, Nadia. You look at the regional market today, I don't see anything but red. And also mixed reaction as well.
We'll have to see. It's an interesting new week for the very simple reason that, who knows, in the Philippines, apparently somebody's running for office that is backed by aliens.
Wow, okay.
Anything, yeah, you look at me like that, it's like, it's actually quite true. But moving on to our actually market snapshot of the week, like you mentioned, the Chinese GDP data, Bursa Malaysia actually did close up about 1.38 points to 1,718.2. 428 counters closed higher, 417 counters and traded lower. MIDF had a very interesting report today where basically it said that last week was a very good week. You had a lot of foreign buyers, and that is what actually drove, I think, a lot of enthusiasm.
But then, still, Nadia, if you look at the MIDF report, it says that foreign fund outflow still stands at 17.1 billion ringgit, which is surpassed 6.9 billion ringgit last year. But anyhow, a total of 2.57 billion shares were traded today with some 2 billion ringgit. And I think in a note released by BMA Research today that they target the KLCI to go up by 1,750 points.
I see. So that's the interesting part about it, right? So I think BMB Research, like you said, 1,750. At current things, maybe that is...
Is it achievable?
Yeah, okay, you have to convince me a little bit more. I think I'm a bit more skeptical on it. But looking regionally as well, everybody was very, very mixed following the data. And looking at Nikkei, it was actually closed down 160 points. Shanghai as well, closed down 465. I think a lot of people need to see more of China's data. There was this interesting little note, right, where basically the Chinese leaders have not backed down from saying that the 2015 growth target is 7%. But the thing is, everybody has this really big question mark saying that, I wonder if the quality of their statistics along with this long-standing question is true.
I mean, if you look at the most banks, they also say that they're actually quite skeptical about that as well.
We'll see how it goes. But moving on to our hot stock of the day, the interesting thing is we're looking at this company that has gotten its love letter. MQ Tech down about 11.11%, very nice numbers. 106 million shares traded hands. It's dropped about 20% since October 9th, and it already got, like I mentioned earlier, a love letter from Bursa because apparently it bucked too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stock, right, it actually drops after rising about 114% from a low of 7 cents on September 1 to 15 cents on October 9. And I think in justifying the high volume traded today, MQ Tech said that the companies, perhaps investors are taking a peek on the latest move to build some kind of theme park in Malacca.
Yeah, so you look skeptical when you say that to me.
I mean, how many more theme parks?
Okay, we actually didn't say what they do. This company actually does hard disk drive. And although it's not unusual for people to kind of move into property, it's not just any kind of property. They're building a theme park in Malacca. I mean, I haven't been to Malacca for ages, but have you been there recently? Was there any theme parks around there that I've not visited?
I think there's only one in Makota where they have this water theme park going on there. But apart from that, there's not much of a theme park. But then it's a very interesting place to be in Malacca, by the way.
Yeah, but then you see, I think what people were saying was that, of course, after 114%, like you said, I think a lot of people are taking profit because otherwise I don't see any new catalyst. Do you see any new catalyst? Even the company itself seems, look, aside from the theme park, which has been announced before, what else could be driving? So you wonder whether there's something going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is part of their move to actually repair their financial. Earnings has not been very good as well. If you look at the revenue, it was up 60%, yes, but if you look at the net loss, it seems to widen to 1.1 million ringgit. Maybe they wanted, to enhance their balance sheet and strengthen their position. But going to property players, property play. I don't know. I mean, I'm just a little bit skeptical about that.
Yeah, well, not so. A lot of people, companies want to go into property. Takaso, apparently, the condom and baby care manufacturer that we've talked about, actually has done that. Property itself is softening. We actually went to EcoWorld's launch, and we actually talked to Tan Sri Liu Kisin, where basically he says, it is sometimes about what do you call it? The name itself. I mean, the trusting of the developer. So if you're going in, you're definitely going in head first, and you have to see whether or not HDD will really be so bad that you have to embed it entirely. But just to sort of bring everything home, right? So of course, MQ Tech was slapped with a really, really nice love letter because its shares apparently were moving too big for Bursa, as mentioned. The company has, of course, said that there's nothing they know that actually would cause the share price. But of course, the share price has gone up 114%. So I think it's time for some people to take profit. But still, their move into a theme park in Malacca, I don't know whether or not that will be their savior from their, well, at least help turn around the earnings. Moving on, of course, to our stocks with momentum. It's going to be really, really interesting because we have two today, both negative momentum. Actually, we've been doing this show for a while. Do you realize that there's never not been positive momentum for quite a while?
Yeah, I mean, we do have, but no, but I think there's a lot of stocks that actually outnumbered the negative, outnumbering the positive ones.
Yeah, so even though the market is bullish, I don't think people are seeing that as much. Seacera, were actually up about 14.58% to 82.5 cent. They actually share price has actually risen like 36% from 61 cent on September 29th. You know, they're a very interesting company because I knew them when they were trying to make tiles. Well, they still do make tiles, don't they?
Yeah, they do make tiles. Basically, you know, if you look at the Seacera, right? I mean, the same thing goes with the previous company that we talked about, the MQ Tech. You know, they are buying a land. I mean, they are actually doing a joint venture in Malacca to develop some kind of ecotourism resorts. You know, by building water chalets, service apartments, convention centre, and private hospitals.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it is a diversification because tiles is a very tough market to kind of go in, but these guys are also construction players. They themselves have said that, you know, they're moving away from, you know, they're moving away from just doing tiles. They're kind of moving into that. So construction, you see, has a kind of twofold. On one hand, the prices of the materials, steel, concrete, it's all kind of come down, but the problem is projects haven't come as much, and I think that's a worry for Seacera, especially since property development. I don't know, Max. I don't know, Sulhi. Is it the same argument that we had just now?
I think it does sounds like the same thing, you know. And the property market is actually cooling and softening. I think it would not spell a good sign for them. I mean, that's what I think, you know. And again, doing ecotourism, you know, you have theme park now, you have ecotourism. You're building something very big with the current market.
Malacca's looking very crowded.
Yeah, you know, with a small land in Malacca.
Yeah. Well, we have to see how that kind of works out. So moving on to actually our next stock with momentum, it's also negative momentum. It's called Quality Concrete. The reason why we say that in unison was because when we were looking at the stock, it's very, very low-key. It's the definition of low-key, even though the share price is up from about 4.5% to RM1.60.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stock, right, I think they caught the Edge Research radar when some 500,000 shares were traded last Friday. You know, normally this stock, right, I mean, about 7,000 to 8,000 shares were traded. But, you know, if you look at the Bursa announcement, there's not much of an announcement going on there except for earnings.
I've actually opened the page to me right now, and I was looking at the company and their prospects. They say they're mindful of the challenges ahead and they're taking measures to improve their performance. But they expect optimistic that performance in the coming quarters will be better than last year. And looking at their earnings, I mean, it's going to be quite a bit because I looked at it. Their losses seems to have actually kind of deepened rather than improved.
It has expanded.
And what they do, of course, is written in the name, Quality Concrete. I don't know. What do you feel? I
mean, I feel that the company is a little bit in a very construction business. I think construction is booming, but I think getting the slice in the construction project is what worries them because Sarawak is actually growing and they really need more to bid for more projects there.
Well, looking at the company again, like I said, they are a bit tight-lipped on what they think they're going to do because there's no new project secured. I think that is the other reason why you actually saw the dip. But just to sort of wrap up everything we're talking about stocks of momentum, we have two. Basically, Seacera, former tile maker, now property developer Aspire. Both, and of course, Quality Concrete Bhd. Like I said, what they do is in the name. Both pegged as negative momentum by the Edge Research. Looking at Seacera, big ambitions. I think big ambitions, they're going to have to back it up. But, for Quality Concrete, low-profile company, but both in construction. Just to summarize it up, yes, construction, the raw materials are going down, but the projects themselves are also being quite stagnant.